About 90% of all flowering plants are hermaphrodites. They bear the male reproductive organs or anthers and the female reproductive organ, the pistil, within the same flower. Being a hermaphrodite allows the plant to self-pollinate, a mating strategy in which the plant uses its pollen to fertilize its own ovules. I will often use the terminology selfing plants to designate individuals that reproduce mainly through self-pollination. On the other extreme, cross-pollination occurs when pollen from one plant is used to fertilize another plant. I will use the term outcrossing individuals for this. These two strategies are not mutually exclusive. A species can mix self and cross-pollination. Among the angiosperms, we find a wide variation in the proportion of self and cross-pollination an individual, population, or species can have. The proportion of self-pollination is referred to as mating strategy. A mating strategy with over 80% of selfing, that means less than 20% of outcrossing, is considered a predominantly selfing strategy. Inversely, a mating strategy with over 80% of outcrossing, or less than 20% of selfing, is considered predominantly outcrossing. Anything in between 20 and 80% of outcrossing is considered a mixed mating strategy. About half of the species for which the self and cross-pollination were estimated by 2005 had a mixed mating strategy. Which strategy do you think was the first that evolved among angiosperms? Pause the video and think about it. Did you answer self-pollination? It seems logical, right? If you have all it takes for successful reproduction in one single flower, why bother to look for other mating partners? But as intuitive as this looks, this hypothesis is wrong. Accumulated phylogenetic evidence shows that self-pollination is the more recent mating strategy. It evolved after cross-pollination. For example, here is a phylogeny of the genus Collinsia. The numbers at the end of each branch correspond to the estimated selfing rate of each species. In here, a species is considered as predominantly selfing if its selfing rate is above 0.75. There are three predominantly selfing species in the phylogeny: C. rutani, C. sparsiflora, and C. antonina. Most other species have at least 50% of outcrossing. The orange stars are marking the most probable occurrence of a reproductive shift. As you can see, the most parsimonious explanation for the evolution of selfing in this taxonomical complex would be that it occurred 3 times independently across the phylogeny, with the evolutionary shift towards complete selfing occurring very recently in each of the 3 species. Any other explanation is less parsimonious. For instance, if the switch to selfing occurred at the common ancestor of C. ratani and C. linearis, another evolutionary shift towards outcrossing will then have to occur in the predominantly outcrossing Collinsia linearis. This is a similar result with a phylogeny of Polymonaceae, or the phlox family. What is important to notice in this phylogeny is that all unequivocal transitions from outcrossing to selfing, which are marked here in orange, occur at the terminal branches, again confirming the hypothesis of recent evolution of self-pollination. Similar observations have been made in other angiosperm taxa, but also in hermaphroditic animals. The faculty to self-fertilize is a new evolutionary transition, and a one that occurs quite often. So how did this happen? What is the advantage of self-pollination relative to cross-pollination? On the other hand, if selfing is so advantageous, how come that all hermaphroditic individuals are not self-fertilizing? We will discuss this in the playlist that follows.